What's up, guys? This is Jedi Frog, and I am talking about World of Warcraft. Uh, if you don't know, I play a lot of World of Warcraft. I have since I was 9 or 10, and I've been playing since then, and I love World of Warcraft. And so, I recently, within like past year or two, I've been following a lot of stuff on World of Warcraft and like the development and everything and like you know the new expansions and like the patches and like the metas and stuff. I haven't really gone into the meta stuff with all that, but I played classic. I enjoy classic more than retail, which that's not what this video is about, but this video is about what Blizzard is trying to do with Shadowlands. Now, if you don't know, in Shadowlands, they're trying to add this thing called covenants. And basically these covenants, the way they're thinking of them is they want them to be as meaningful as a choice as when you pick your class. Like they want they want the covenants for that expansion to be like they basically want them to be a new subclass type thing, like how specs are. If you don't play WoW, specs are basically um, like mini classes inside of your class. Like, for example, mages have a fire spec, a frost spec, and an arcane spec. So it's stuff like that. Basically, they kind of want Covenants to be something like that, and they've really pushed this meaningful choice thing, and how they basically started time gating the stuff because they want people to stay in that covenant and not feel like it's a meaningful choice. The problem is the community, based with how they've done the covenants, the community doesn't really like the system, and basically and I can explain it really well why. Now, so imagine, let's go back to the mage since I already talked about that. Imagine you're playing a arcane. No, actually, that doesn't work as well. Pretend we're playing a warrior. Okay, warriors have damage specs and a tank spec. So let's say you like on your warrior, you like playing both damage and you like playing tank. So what you end up doing is most of the time you're in your damage spec, but you decide, hey, I want to play tank. I want to play tank. Well, the Covenants have these things where they give you an ability and then they give you legendaries and they give you well, they don't give you legendaries. You can make your legendaries based on the Covenant, but then but point is it's connected to your Covenant, and then they also give your Covenants give you soul binds, and the soul binds are homogenized. This the exact same for every single class and every single spec across the entire game. So they Blizzard number one has to try and balance that, which balancing against with 33, yeah, because there's 11 classes, 33 specs. They have to balance 30, or is it, it's 36 specs. Yeah, there's 12 classes, 36 specs. So they have to balance 36 specs to all fit with it. They have to balance soul binds for every single covenant to be balanced for every single spec in the game, which isn't going to work. It's not going to work. You can't balance 36, you can't balance one item or one thing for 36 different types of gameplay. And so that's one big problem with covenants. Another big problem is the fact that you on your spec each covenant game gives one ability no matter what your spec is. I'm pretty sure no matter what your spec is. But the other thing is that sometimes that ability just isn't that good for, like, you go to let's say you go to one covenant because for your damage spec, it's a really you it has a really good damage spec, like, thing ability. That covenant has a really good damage spec ability that you like. But now you want to tank, and that ability isn't as good for tanking, but this ability over at this covenant is better. Well, the first time, they don't really care. But if you want to go back to the covenant that you were, you have to go through something that takes 1 week to cool down. So it's not something where you can, like, oh, I want to PvP with this covenant, and I want to PvE with this covenant, and I want to blah blah blah, and they don't allow that. And so you basically are hard locked for at least a week or two. I thought I remembered it being a 2 week cooldown, but I heard someone talk about it being a 1 week now, but I don't know. Hopefully it's only 1 week. It shouldn't even be a day. Like, but certain abilities are going to be better for different activities. And so if you put a 1 week timer on on the ways to get those abilities, you're not going to be able to actually, try the abilities that you want to try for whatever activity you're doing. If you want to tank, you can't just you have to tank for a week. You can't go back to the other covenant and do damage the next day or the next hour, because it's going back has a 1 week timer that you can only do once a week. It's not on a per covenant basis, it's for every single covenant. And so and even if it wasn't, it would make it so that I couldn't tank twice in 1 week or damage twice in 1 week. I would have to pick, oh, okay, so I'm going to tank on this day, and every other day I'm doing damage or something, or I'm going to raid on this day and I'm just going to do PvP for the rest of the week, and I'm not going to be able to do anything else. And it's just, that's not a fun system. It's not. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work when it comes to this for that specific reason. And it's not going to work because it all comes down to one thing, one word: playstyle. The difference between covenants and classes is the fact that classes, you have a different playstyle. Like, warlocks are not the same as mages. Warlocks are more like drainy, sustain, like, I'm going to kill you very slowly, put many dots on you. While mages are more like, I'm going to build up my magic thing and bah, build it up, bah. And obviously both of them have like a little bit of the same type of stuff, because they're both like magic wielders that are fully caster like, but they don't have the same play styles. Like, they don't. And so that's really the difference. Like, you can't say that a warrior is the same as a paladin, because paladins play differently than warriors do. They have different things than warriors do. And you can't just say a druid, like a balanced druid, is the same as a holy priest, because they both heal in different ways. They're both healers, but they're not the same. They're not the same thing. Rogues are the only, like, bleh. Rogues don't really have any classes that are similar to them. Like, you have the druid's feral spec, but I mean, like, The druid is basically you get to try anything that you really want. You have one that's like a warrior tank, one that's like a caster, one that's like a bleh, one that's a type of healer. Sorry. One that's a type of healer and one that's a type of rogue, kind of. And so but again, it's not a rogue, and it's all different. So it's like, that's the big difference between a class and the covenants. What you'd have to do with the covenants to make it as meaningful of a choice as picking your class is basically make new mini classes inside of those covenants, which would mean the big thing that you would need is not one ability, you'd need like 6, 7, or 8. That's how many abilities you'd need to have it be as meaningful of a choice as with actual classes, because that's the big difference. Like, me choosing Kyrian over Venthyr, if I'm a Kyrian, I still have the same playstyle as a paladin. Like, my main is a paladin. If I pick Kyrian, what changes? Okay, a few of my passives change. I have one new ability. I can get this legendary instead of this one. My playstyle isn't going to change that much because of that. However, if there were like 7 or 8 new abilities, and like a couple of my main abilities got replaced with another ability, then, I'd be like, that's a lot different than just adding one ability. Like, 8 new abilities, that's a whole new rotation. That's a whole new, like, what's the difference between a normal paladin and a, like, there you can actually do stuff to make a difference between a normal paladin and a Kyrian paladin and a Ventherian paladin and a Night Fae paladin and a Necrolord's paladin. You can make that difference with all of them, but that requires you making 4 new mini specs for each one. Like, maybe if you had 2 and you decided to make mini classes like that, it definitely wouldn't be as much work for Blizzard. But the problem is, they've pushed so hard that the covenants are these meaningful choices, as meaningful as picking a class. It's not as meaningful as picking class. If you can basically say, oh, this is best for this spec, and this is not as good for this spec, and this is terrible for this spec, and this is alright for this spec, then it's not a meaningful choice, because there's no difference. Like, yes, you have one different ability between all of them. Yes, the soulbinds do little different things that buff your character. Yes, the legendary effects are going to be completely different. But the problem is, none of that is, like, that's like choosing your talents. It's like choosing your specialization in Cataclysm. In Cataclysm, you choose your specialization. You have to choose a specialization. You're not allowed to pick and choose things like you were in Wrath, like you were in Classic or Vanilla, like you were in TBC. You have to go down one tree, and yes, when you got all the way down to the bottom and picked one of the towns down there, you could go to one of the other 2 trees. But besides that, but until you did that, you had to go down that spec, and you couldn't be like, okay, at this level I need these talents so that I can heal myself better as a paladin or something, or I need these talents because it helps me do a little bit more damage, but this tree is still better overall. No, you have to go down whatever tree you pick, and you're not allowed to pick anything else. That's basically what the new covenants are like. I was 9. I was I was 9 when Cataclysm was announced. I don't remember if I was 9 or 10 when it was released. I turned 10 in July, so I don't know when Cataclysm was released exactly. But so but from what I've learned, people did not like it corrects me if I'm wrong, but people did not like the changes to the talent system in Cataclysm. I'm absolutely sure people did not like that change. Like, I'm absolutely sure people did not like that change. And basically, what they've done is they've created the Cataclysm talent system inside of the game. I literally just thought about that now while talking out loud into the video. But it's not okay. People have screamed at Blizzard, "Hey, we do not like the Covenants. We do not like them. They are going to fail. They're going to be bad. It's not as much of a meaningful choice as you want it to be." And they can't make it as meaningful choice as they want it to be. I've already said why. They can't make it as meaningful of a choice. It's not going to be as meaningful of a choice. People are... It's not that it's not RPG like people would not want to play paladins while they suck so bad if people didn't care about the RPG factor of the game. That's fucking an RPG factor. Like, some people want to be a fucking paladin wielding some sort of sword or something while bringing down the light's justice on top of their enemy. Some people want to be a fucking two-handed warrior that's bald and go around and, whirlwind and do transmog competitions and all that kind of stuff. Get his viewers to give him way too much gold. But, some people want to be a rogue. And they want to be a PvP beast. Because they love being a PvP rogue beast. Because rogues are fun. Rogues are fun and different than any other class. Paladins are fun and different than any other class. Warriors are fun and different than any other class. All of the classes are fun and different than every other class. Obviously not as much as they used to be, but, homogenization and everything. But my phone doesn't have any more room. I need to delete stuff, but yeah, before it ends, I'm just gonna outro. So, that's all I really needed to say on Covenants. So yeah, I hope this gets around and people start freaking talking about it more. But, okay. Well, 3 seconds. See ya.